All right, so let's get into it. So now we can start watching the match.
Bonchan versus Punk. Punk's, by all accounts, mentor, sensei, favorite player in the world.
All right, so let's see.
It's gonna be a mirror.
You know me, I like to watch the open game and we see what happened. All right, so Punk walks up and does stand light kick. It looks like Bonchan's being a lot more passive so far in this set compared to Punk. And you know, that could just be the confidence that Punk has and he displays.
Let's go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Let me lower this a little bit. Let's rewind this a little bit.
It's gonna be a mirror match, so it's pure as it gets. Let's go.
All right, so you see that Bonchan crouches a lot because he's trying to get information. So he's trying to get information and he's also trying to sell the idea of a fake rhythm. So you're gonna see Bonchan be like he's gonna crouch a lot like this.
Let's go.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's obviously
Okay.
Karin versus Ingrid, right? So,
Oh man,
I mean, here we go.
Ingrid.
Yeah, I know.
Love the Red Bull colors.
Okay, so let's go back. So I don't know if you guys noticed that, but the very first time he knocks him down, you see how he committed to a backdash immediately? The reason is that we talked about Karin's oppressive offense, right? One of the things about her that's so scary is that her crouching medium punch is +2. So typically people don't want to press a button, right? Because the stand medium punch would be, it's 5 frames. And if that hits, they can combo on counter hit into low forward. So that whole string is just a very strong system of offense. So usually what happens is a reactionary based player will see the crouching medium punch hit on block. And they say, oh, this didn't hit. If it hit, I would have comboed. But because it didn't hit, I don't want to really give up my pressure. And I know you know I'm +2. So what do? They walk forward, right? So they walk forward and then they try to reestablish their offense again. So then it becomes a 50-50 at that point. A 50-50. Not really a 50% chance of guessing right or wrong, but we just say that because it's a guessing situation. So when Bonchan does crouching medium punch, right? You'll know Bonchan is playing that Karin because obviously that's the Red Bull outfit, right? And the in-grid Karin is Punk. So you see Bonchan walks up after the first crouching medium punch because he's trying to establish that guessing game. So it can be a throw or it can be a crouching medium punch again. All right, so you can literally just rock, paper, scissors this situation over and over and over again. So if you think he's gonna walk up and press a button, right, you try to interrupt the button. But if you think that he's going to immediately commit to a frame trap, then you just block and he pushes himself out of range. So Punk is very alert of this. So you see that he uses this against him immediately. That's why he backdashed after the very first knockdown situation. He blocks that and he immediately committed to backdash. Okay, so I want you guys to remember this moment because in 2 matches you're going to see what happens. Okay, see, so what I talked about earlier in regards to her anti-airs being weak, so this was in theory what he was supposed to do, right? Is crouching heavy punch, right? Because he didn't commit to anything, so he has enough time to in theory hit. He has the, you know, the window of opportunity to anti-air with that button, but the issue becomes that crouching heavy punch has a forward moving property. So you see how Karin kind of moved forward, and Punk is very aware of this. How does he know? I'm going to show you. So this is the secret. It's the spacing. The spacing of the crouching medium kick at max range. That's also the dead zone for Karin. That pushback range right here. This is now a new spacing because of the pushback, right? So at this range, he knows that if he jumps in, stand heavy punch moves forward and crouching fierce moves forward. So Bonchan would have to air to air in the situation. Okay.
Love the Red Bull colors.
If I could do the fart noise properly, I would do that. But you know.
Yeah.
So Bonchan tries to jump out. That's why he got hit there.
If I could do the fart noise properly, I would do that.
And it wasn't counter hit. That's very important to notice when you're on the offensive. Is if your opponent is getting hit, but there's no counter hit, that means they're trying to move. So either they're trying to backdash or they're trying to jump. All right, they're just not blocking. This is just something to be mindful of.
Yeah. So far, Punk has the better. He's got the corner for himself. He waits just a tick and it was enough. Gets out of the corner. Oh, the mash. You could see he was about to recover.
So that was good, that back throw, because even if he techs in that situation, Bonchan still stays in the corner, right?
So far, Punk has the better.
If Bonchan were to jump again, which is very unlikely because he just got punished for doing that, he would still be able to potentially anti-air him on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
He's got the corner for himself. He waits just a tick and it was enough. Gets out of the corner. Oh, the mash. You can see he was about to recover.
Oh
Alright.
no, he drops the just frame on the Tenko.
He messed up the combo there. So usually what happens is like when Karin does this delay, it's because they want a corner carry. So they want the opponent to get pushed more into the corner, so they don't do the immediate Tenko, because there's two versions. There's one that launches immediately, and that one gives you a higher juggle, so then you can do more advanced and damaging combos. Or there's the other version, which is what he tried to attempt here, which gives you greater horizontal push. So if you watch this, see how far he pushed him forward, see? But because he didn't cancel it soon enough, it wasn't a true combo, and Bonchan was able to block and punish, because it's minus like 8 or something like that, maybe even more.
And you know what? This could come all the way back to haunting. Okay,
Yes.
did not.
The two guys have a bit different strengths when it comes to their Karens, I believe. I love Punk's ability to hit confirm with one hit. He's so dangerous. You know every hit's going to be into a combo.
All right.
Bonchan gets
So forward throw at the start of this, right? Remember how they both started off the round previously? They both kind of just walked and crouched. So Punk, remember from our Tokido versus Punk set that we analyzed, I believe it was a couple weeks ago? We seen that Punk at the opening, he's very alert of what the opponent's strategy is and how they're going to go about establishing their dominance in initiative. So he's seen from the previous round that Bonchan didn't really do anything. He didn't take a risk. He wasn't active. And again, we talked about one of the ways for Karin to take advantage of passive opponents is to walk forward or dash, right? Or jump. But he doesn't have a reason to do any of that. So he just walks forward. All right. After that throw, they're set to reset to neutral. So there's not really much you can do unless you take some crazy risk or some sort of hard read. Okay. So you see how Bonchan kind of, he just dashed after that whiff crouching medium punch. Usually smart players, when they whiff a button, they down back, right? And you see that here. That's what Punk does instinctively, because they think of whiff punish, right? So they're like, okay, I just overcommitted. I made a mistake because my button whiffed, so let me block. And Bonchan, he's very alert of that fundamental belief of top players, so he takes advantage by dashing in. So if you were to simplify this situation, whiff equals passive, right? So Punk became passive. He's like, oh, let me wait because I messed up. And that messing up is what grants Bonchan the mental opportunity to close the gap. All right, so you've seen that crouching jab, right? So let's go back a little bit. After that crouching medium punch, and you see Bonchan walks up a little bit, you see? He walks up, and he gets hit with the jab. That's why Punk does the stand medium punch right here, because he's anticipating to get counter hit. All right, so this doesn't combo unless the crouching jab hits counter hit. But you see, there's no counter hit. So you see this jab into strong doesn't combo because he in his mind is trying to interrupt. That's why he did that. There's no other reason why he would do crouching jab, stand medium punch, knowing it doesn't combo unless it's counter hit. Because he understands that the situation calls for interruption, which usually means counter hit. Supposed to be a safe jump setup. All right. Let's rewind that a little bit. What happened there? Okay. So remember I was talking about passive opponents, right? We talked about whiffing. Look what happened. So now you're going to see Punk taking advantage of that same philosophy where you see that Karin whiffed the low forward, right? And then look what Punk does. He confirms it, that he's not doing anything, and he walks up. So this is basically two ways to go about the same element. You've seen where Bonchan committed immediately to overexertion, whereas Punk confirms that you're passive, and then he starts his offense. Okay? So this is actually a reason why I think Punk struggled against Dhalsim, or Champ's Dhalsim, was because that the way Champ plays with a lot of pauses, and the pauses Punk usually uses to confirm situations. So because he sees Dhalsim pause, he thinks, oh, I can move forward. You know what I'm saying? And that's where Champ would introduce a pause, and then he'd place a button right after the pause. And then Punk would run into a button. Okay? So you kind of see that right here. So let's watch it again. Regular motion. Go forward with after the counter poke, right? Because he got pushed back by the max distance of Karin's crouching medium kick. And Bonchan's aware of that.
Got the corner now. So last round we saw corner by Punk
Okay.
on the left. Now we have it by
Nice. So he's understanding that in that negative situation,
Punk on the left. Now
you know, Bonchan is more evasive and more movement based than most players. So him dashing up was to close the ground. All right.
we have it by Bonchan on the right.
Did you see after the V-reversal blocked, Punk dashed forward to chase down a potential backdash
Nice.
from Bonchan.
So you see, he's confirming that he's being passive, even though he's negative right here. He's like, all right, I'm gonna walk up and throw you because you're not doing anything.
From Bonchan.
How many hours of footage has Punk watched?
So right there, the reason why Punk commits to that
And I can't believe he went for
is because Punk commits to that because he knows that Bonchan knows that the gap, right? He does the Rekka into the crouching medium punch or crouching heavy punch or whatever. He knows that you can interrupt it. He knows that Bonchan knows that, okay? So that's why he committed to the slide right away. Usually a lot of Karin players do this when they know you've played Karin or that you're playing Karin, okay?
hours of
That's why he committed to this, because this would have frame trapped the crouching jab.
has Punk watched Bonchan? I can't believe he went for the slide.
Interesting. Not sure why that happened. Might have been a misconfirm or a mistake or something. Oh, I thought
See, that's why he immediately went for it this time. Because he's like, oh, you're not doing it. Okay.
I thought he was gonna go to the other side.
And this is good defense on Bonchan's part because he has no reason to shimmy. He can just take the throw and go back to neutral because he is beating Punk in neutral right now. So even if he were to take the throw, he'd only end up like around here. Right? Like, so he'd still have the health advantage.
Oh, I thought he was gonna go to the other
The
side.
block! Bonchan's in trouble! Even though he's got the life lead. Okay, finally. He
See?
takes the grab. He's got the life lead. Now we're back to neutral. But better situation for him.
Bonchan just gotta activate this V trigger.
Well, he might be concerned. Well, I don't know, man. At some point, maybe Chip's an issue. It's not yet.
Oh right, that's true. That's
It's not yet.
So Bonchan's being a lot more active with his stand medium kick right now.
He has the life lead. There it is.
Okay, so that was a big mistake on Bonchan's part, and you're going to see why.
Different ideas. Trigger one on one side.
Because now he can't V-reversal out of that situation. So that was good on Punk's part to see the weakness of the position and of his decision.
He has the life lead.
So I think Bonchan kind of just panicked right there, and I think he thought that that hit, so he was going to go for super, because you can V-trigger and then go into super from that,
There it is. It
right? So that I think he was 0 after that on block,
comes out.
because they both traded, right, with the same button. And you see Punk whips low forward, does stand roundhouse,
Trigger one.
because like we talked about, when one player overcommits or overexerts, you see how Bonchan kind of immediately tries to counter with movement.
There it is. It comes out.
Granted, right here, he just gets hit. I don't know why he just got hit, probably buffering. Maybe he was buffering super or something. I don't know. But he got hit crouching, and it wasn't counter hit. So he wasn't blocking. He was doing something with his joystick. All right?
They have different ideas.
Now, right there, that right there is a tell that Punk was about to do something because he stopped moving. He hadn't done it at that spacing at all.
Different ideas.
All right? The fact that he just crouched like this is like a huge tell. So Bonchan, if he was aware of the situation instead of panicking, I think he would have interrupted this.
Trigger one on
See?
one side.
Especially considering that
There it is.
you can see the buffer
Two. They have different ideas.
from the crouching, you see? So that could give him enough time.
Trigger one on one side. And as soon as the do it, I get for the opponent to have to consider.
Alright, so let's see. Did I miss anything? No. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about match. What is this? Match 2, round 1. Okay, so let's watch the opening from Bonchan. We've seen that Punk did walk up, right? He took the space. He demanded the space from the previous set, round 2. Round 1, initially what happened was they both walked up, didn't do anything. Round 2, Punk was aware of that, so he walked up and he did stand medium punch, right? So he took advantage. Now you're gonna see Bonchan interrupt that rhythm.
Punk takes the first game.
Okay, see? And he immediately committed to that.
Second round right there.
Now watch this.
Oh, look at
So you guys remember that, right? From the previous round? What happened? After the first time he knocked him down, the very first round, he did crouching medium punch and he walked up and did crouching medium punch, right? And Punk did what? He backdashed. Okay? So you see how this narrative, this story
Second round right there.
it gets plotted out. He basically reverse engineers it. He's like, okay, I know when I put myself in this situation, I already have the answer. He's not thinking of the answer right now because that would have been too slow. He already thought of it before he even got into that range. He's like, once this happens again, when I make it happen again, I'm gonna just apply the answer.
First game. Very, very close second round right there.
Oh, look at this. Bonchan now trying to be the aggressor. Oh,
Okay.
First by like 2 frames.
and then a back
They both did roundhouse, but he got counter hit because he did it slower than Punk. All right. So right there, that's a very important. You see how Punk he did walk back. He did walk back into V skill. So that means he's getting into like a top rope. Like he's like, it's like a playstyle where people move back and then they swing forward. They lash out. So this is kind of like his way of doing it. You're gonna see him do it again, right? Watch. Walk back. And he does it again. See? That was a good punish. Alright. Alright, so let's see what happens. Okay, so Bonchan jumps this time because he's probably anticipating that Punk is anticipating some sort of walk-up button again, right? But Punk doesn't fall for it. He waits it out. He's like, alright, let me see if anything's changed. And sure enough, Bonchan jumps into the stand fierce.
I don't think we've seen Punk jump yet, but Bonchan just did.
So that was supposed to be stand medium kick. And the reason why I know this is because he started walking back a little bit. You see, he walked back just a little bit right here. And the medium version came out. So that was just supposed to be a stand medium kick with punish, but it happened.
Even did the medium kick version of it. It was a sick whip punish, but oh, that's gonna be the hit, and that's
nice.
the stud, and Punk is gonna be at
He's just building bar by whiffing those specials.
Take a sip of the Red Bull, so we'll see how he comes back right now.
Alright, so let's see. Forward throw. Okay, so Bonchan is looking for something. But when he starts doing that, like randomly, when he starts crouching, he's not getting anything off of it. So he's just trying to influence the opponent that's in front of him. So you see how he does it twice? See? To make sure that you've seen it. That's usually what people do. They do something twice so that the first time you see it, the second time you confirm it's a thing, and then you're anticipating, you're trying to go punish it, and then that's when they switch. Right? So you see he does that wiggle twice, walk up, medium punch. Because Punk sees it, right? And then he's like, oh, okay. And you see he try to dash. And he tries to dash it. You can see the startup. Gets hit. Nice. So you use the crouching medium punch plus frames. Take advantage of hesitation. See? Crouches and walks up. Alright, so again, that's a thing that Punk does, is that he's confirming before he commits to the decision. So if you can just slightly delay or introduce pauses and commit to things that can counter his laggy attacks. Because that's how he's landing his laggy attacks on block and on hit. Is that he's confirming you're not doing anything that's too crazy. And then he's like, okay, it's safe to do this, right? Because you can see it. Look at his behavior. See, he's walking, crouching, walks back. Okay, see?
Yeah, that time he was waiting for Punk to do the standing heavy kick into V trigger.
And he confirms it. So he's using like his crouch as a means to assessing what's going on. Like, what can I possibly do right now? Alright, so what happens here? This is kind of like a scramble with buttons. I don't know why he got hit here, crouching. Because he clearly is crouching. That's not a whiff punish. That's weird. Because you can see him, he stands and he gets hit, but then he crouches. So what is that? But there's no counter hit. That's something I have to explore because I don't understand what happened here.
Oh, here it is, the single confirm I talked about for Punk, but here it is by Bonchan as well.
Dead.
There you go, Bonchan with a second game. It's tied 1-1. I almost feel like there's no other way it could go. It would feel like a disservice if one were to blow up the other.
All right, so this is the last match.
Last year he was so dominant throughout most of the time. This year has not been the same. He's still done well, but it hasn't been like the last year where he was in grand finals so frequently. So for him, this would be great if he could move on through.
All right. So we kind of go back to that very first opening of match 1, round 1, where they both kind of just closed the gap on each other but didn't commit to anything. And Punk seizes the opportunity. All right, so we see that again. That's that top rope style where he moves back and he V-skills. Okay, so Punk will implement these moments of defense where he starts reacting, or these moments of pauses where he's assessing. That's basically what he does. Okay.
Still has a lot more work to do here against Bonchan.
Nice. So how did he hit that stand first? Let's see.
Still has a lot more work to do here.
Nice. Okay. So he thought it was okay to move forward.
You smart.
Oh.
You
no,
loyal.
well, that's 2 months.
You grateful. I appreciate
Much
that.
love to Nelbum. That's 2 months of being a wonderful sub, being loyal to the soil, to your boy Zaf. Much love to you as always, Nell. I appreciate you. Okay, so he takes the throw mid-screen to put him back. Everything's all fine and dandy. So he does a V reversal there so that he can do this meaty setup. This is actually meaty and he's +1, I believe. All right, so he can get interrupted by crouching jab because it's 3 frames. But yeah, again, so you see he does that walk back V skill. See? Okay. It's good punish. That was a really scary, like, I've never seen this before. That was kind of crazy.
He committed to that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
Walking up for the grab.
He committed to that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You see how he's crouching? He crouches and he sees, like, oh, you're not doing anything. But the crouch is so fast that you wouldn't notice it. It looks like it's just a seamless, like a transition of decisions. Just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. It looks like it's almost autopilot, but it's not. He's really assessing. You see, he paused and he says, oh, okay, I'm good.
He committed.
So it's like if block stun does not happen, he's just like, okay, I'm gonna move forward. Okay, I'll be okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. Walking up for the grab, we got able to turn just like that.
See, and then Bonchan uses it against him.
Oh, that was supposed to be maybe.
Oh no!
Wow, Bonchan dropping everything everywhere, but you gotta watch out. It's gotta be trigger 2. All
Yeah,
ready to go.
So see, he does that medium twice.
Sure, sure.
Nothing happens. Okay. Boom.
You know it'll be in his
Uses it against.
Maybe he wouldn't even need it, to be honest.
That's why he's going for these.
Oh, baits. Baited. That was good shit. Because that situation's so scary. Even though she's not as plus as she used to be, where she can actually throw loop you, it's still like, it feels like one. You still have to guess. Okay, so we see Bonchan. He sells him the idea that he's not going to do anything, and he immediately dashes up. See? He gives him that false sense of security by moving backwards. He's like, oh, okay, it's okay. You can move forward. Nothing wrong here. All right? Because he crouches. Remember, that's the key. That's the key. You see Punk is crouching and confirming. And look what happens. He gets thrown off because he's confirming and he's in the middle of that. So if you can, like, if you can sell the idea during your opponent's body language that, hey, it's okay to do this, but then you're just doing that just short enough for their attention span to confirm, and then you just commit to whatever you intentionally wanted to commit to, that's how you can end up bypassing people with great reactions. You have to just convince them to not be looking for stuff.
In almost those situations, if you're gonna go for one or the other, you'd almost rather just take the chip
Nice.
and let him lose his critical. His critical art meter. You know. Take
Okay.
the chip and let him lose his critical.
He just wants that. So he wanted to back throw him potentially, but because he backdashed, he saw it in the middle of that sequence, right? And he says, "Okay, I'm not gonna throw you. I'm not gonna overcommit because I see you clearly backdash."
Critical art meter. You know. Oh boy. And now.
Oh, these little whips. It makes me so concerned.
Oh, nice crush counter, confirm into the slide. Okay, this time it works.
I love doing it again.
Wow. So he used the negative frames of the stand roundhouse to dash up.
Love doing it again.
But he doesn't have. He only got half.
What's up, Doc? The homie, the bro chacho. Okay, so right there is really risky. Like, if you ever see Karin do low forward cancel, you should just always mass jab, because the only thing she can do to interrupt you is she has to commit to Tenko, and most Karins are not going to do that. So they usually try to go into shoulder, or they try to command dash empty and mix up off of it. So anytime you block crouching medium kick from Karin, you can just interrupt it pretty much with a 4-frame attack. Guaranteed, like every time. She has to commit to Tenko, but that's very punishable, and it's like -10 on block. All right. So if he had the presence of mind here, he could have been like, oh, I can just interrupt this. V-skill, see? V-skilled again. You guys seen that? So you guys see the pattern here, right? Where it's like, when he starts moving backwards and he hasn't been doing it, usually it leads up to this. Okay? Nice.
Very nice.
Who's that? Pretty, I can't see what the second word says. Pretty something. But thank you for following. Appreciate it. I don't know why I put those fancy ass fonts. Rodriguez, thank you, my friend from Brazil. Much love to you. Obrigado. Okay, so let's go back. Start of the match. What's the opening gambit? Let's see. Nothing? Okay, so because it's the last round, it's kind of like, it's very intense. So they're both trying to get a feel for each other. They don't really want to commit to anything crazy. That's usually what happens between top players. And they're like, all right, I just want to get a feel for what you're doing. And then once they get the knockdown, they might start going crazy. You know what I'm saying? So you guys can see this, right? So your dash is up. So they both commit to pretty big moves. Punk he's still at the advantage because he's grounded. All right, so he has the advantage here, even though they both committed to something. Where Bonchan jumps, Punk dashes, right? Okay. But he still has the best options because he's on the ground. All right, and you see what I was telling you guys about that V skill? Look how it bit him in the ass. You see? He telegraphed it again because he started moving backwards. Just think about it for a second, right? If your opponent is Punk, and you know Punk he naturally bulldogs and he naturally moves forward and he's very confident, why else would he move backwards? What could he possibly get off of moving backwards if he knows his strength lies in moving forward? That means that whatever he's doing while moving backwards, the intention behind his movement is to just make him get started with his offense. So when you see some movement like this, it makes sense how you can use it against him. It makes sense how Bonchan snipes it right here. See? Pauses and he waits. Okay. Nice. So he uses the negative situation against Punk, right? Because Punk has a mind game of, you know, using his positive frames to move forward, right? And then when his opponent is negative, he also uses that against them too. Because remember, what did Bonchan do? Bonchan did V reversal on block, right? And Punk immediately dashed at him. All right, so you could make the assumption in a situation like this, like, oh, because he's down on health and he needs to establish his offense, and you know, obviously he wants to feel like he can win, he might just seize some sort of negative situation like this and try to use it against me as much as he can. All right, because if he just does like a medium poke, if he does medium, like, no, he's not really getting much off of that. We're still in neutral. I'm still winning, right? But he wants to make the big move, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Bonchan did this twice on purpose, because you see, he backdashed. That was kind of random. Now that I think about it, I didn't even notice that. He did V skill, right? And then he backdashed, like he's trying to tell him, hey, come and get me, right? I'm doing this. I'm moving away. And then remember, when Punk blocked the V reversal, he dashed at him because he understood Bonchan is a movement-based player. So maybe he's trying to lure Punk into moving forward, right? And that's why he does this again, right? So maybe and look, he's technically right? Because he did move forward. Punk didn't move forward here, but he did move forward right after this. And you see? And he gets hit. So he saves that all the way till the end, basically. That's like his ace, right? And he KOs him. So that was really good. How he basically orchestrated all of that. He took a series of elements inside of the narrative between both players, and he saved it for the end to just make the last round as easy as possible. Okay? You see all of the elements we talked about, everything basically just came together here. Him punishing that V skill was very crucial. All right? Him catching him delay teching was pretty good too, because I don't think he was really delay teching often, to be honest, especially mid-screen like that. And then you see, of course, the negative situation. So yeah, that was really good. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed that. It's your boy Zaf. I'm about to head out. So if you guys haven't already, feel free to follow me on my Twitch channel. Feel free to follow me on my Twitter and on my YouTube channel, all right? So I constantly tweet pretty much every day, and I'm uploading all of my lessons from my Twitch streams over to my YouTube channel. So if you guys ever miss out on any of my lessons, they'll always be over there, all right? So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and feel free to come tune in next time, all right, brothers? Much love to you guys. Peace!